Hi, I'm Ariel and I'm here today with Skully Designs for our 365-day project. Today we're going to make some fast and fabulous fabric bookmarks. Let's see what you'll need. You'll need a nice fabric of your choice. I prefer to use cottons that are heavier for my bookmarks. Just makes them more durable and last longer. You'll also need an interlacing fusible batting or thin fabric. This is just a very thin Pellin interlacing fusible fabric. And what that is it'll iron on to the inside of your fabric and it'll give that extra stiffness that a bookmark needs. Now if you want, you can use a thicker batting also, but I really prefer this nice thin fusing fabric when making bookmarks myself. You will also need either a rotary cutter or a scissors to cut your fabric, whichever is easiest for you. Scissors to trim your threads. You may or may not want to use pins. Now this project is not that large, so I don't even bother pinning. You might want to be more accurate or have straight stitches, unlike me some of the time. So you may want to go ahead and use your pins. A safety pin always helps when turning your fabric out while we're in the sewing process. So I have a nice large safety pin that I use. A ruler, of course, to measure your fabric. Cutting mats. An iron to make sure you secure your fusing with. And of course the sewing machine. So the first thing you'll need to do is cut your fabric and your fusing. You're going to want to cut it 2.5 inches wide by 8 inches long. Of course, you can cut it any size you want. I just find that that's a nice bookmark size for me. So that's what I'm going to do. 2.5 inches wide by 8 inches long. And you're going to want 2 pieces of your main fabric, and I just use one of my fusing for this project because I find that it makes the bookmark thick and stiff enough that I don't really want more. Some people may go ahead and put it on both sides. For this one, I'm just using one. So you also want that 2.5 inches by 8.5 inches wide. You want all 3 of your pieces the exact same size. So I'm going to go ahead and cut my fabric and then we'll move on to the next step. The first thing you'll need to do is cut out your fabric and your fusing. You want to cut them all out to the same size. I've cut mine 2.5 inches wide by 8.5 inches long. You can cut them any size you want for your bookmarks. I find this is a nice size and allows me for a 1/4 inch seam allowance when I'm sewing. So once you have those cut out, you're going to want to take your fusing and on the wrong side of the fabric, you are going to want to just iron that down to fuse it together. And what this does is help your bookmark come a little stiffer and nicer. You want to make sure that when you iron it, you do the fusing side down. Otherwise, you're going to get your iron all sticky mess. So I'm going to go ahead, since I've already cut my fabric out, and just iron this fusing on so that it's nice and stiff. Once I get this fusing fused on, and you can do both sides if you want. I find that just one layer of fusing is more than sufficient. But if you want yours a little stiffer, by all means, use 2. And you want to cut all these to the exact same size so they just line up and overlap one another. See? Turns out real nice. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my fabrics. I got some fuzzy on them. I am going to put them right sides together and I'm going to sew. I'm going to sew I might not be able to talk, but I am going to sew both sides down a 1/4 inch seam. Now, if you want, you can go ahead and sew the bottom also and just cut the corners a little bit, making sure not to get your stitching. I find it's harder for me to turn inside right when I'm done doing that. So I'm going to make a tube first to make it easier to turn. So I'm just going to sew both sides a 1/4 inch, and then we'll move on to our next step. Okay, I've sewn a 1/4 inch seam along both sides, and now I'm going to turn it inside right. I never get that right. Inside right, inside out. I'm going to turn it right side. So to help me do that, I like to use a safety pin, and I just safety pin one little side here, and then turn it around and just push it through. Push it, push it, push it all the way through. I know I got a lot of innuendos here tonight. I would apologize, but it's been a really long day. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I just got finished doing the work that I need to get done today. So that's why we're doing such a quick and easy project today, and I have innuendos flying. Alright, here we go. We're pulling it through. There I go again. Alright. And as you see, it's a lot easier than if you had closed up that one end right away. That would have made it much more difficult to pull through. Now, once we get it through, we want to pop out our seams with our finger as much as possible. You can use a pencil or something else if that's easier for you. But I'm going to get my seams all nice and get this nice and flat. And you can see it's kind of thick with the fusing, and that one layer was more than enough. But if you wanted to, you could have used the batting that was a little bit thicker, and you could have gone ahead and sewn this bottom right away so you wouldn't have anything there to worry about, but I like this way better. My iron's still hot, so I'm just going to smooth it out some more with my iron and get it nice and flat as I can get it. And sometimes it helps to flip over and do both sides. Now, if you wanted to embellish these more, by all means, you could add ribbons, you could add buttons, you could add a little tassel, whatever you want to do. Now, I have it like this. It's all nice and flat and straight. My seams are pretty good. So what I'm going to do is just tuck in both ends a 1/2 inch. And then I am going to, I'm just eyeballing this right now. La, 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 la. So I'm going to tuck that end and this end in a 1/2 inch. And then I am going to do a stitch all the way just along the edge on the border to secure both of those ends and to make this nice and tight. And then I'll be done because I am so tired. I am not embellishing anything tonight. But you go ahead and take all your time and add all those little lace, ribbon, buttons, whatever you want. Meantime, I'm going to sew this up. I'll be back with my finished project, and I'm going to call it a night. I've gone ahead and I've stitched a 1/4 inch all the way around. I do back stitch when I start and when I end on all my sewing for this project to secure those stitches. And I just used a simple straight stitch for this one as I went around the edge. You could do a decorative top stitch if you'd like, and I think it turned out absolutely fabulous. I'm a voracious reader and I could always use a good bookmark or two. I think for sure next time, especially on a beautiful fabric like this, I would add a little tassel at the bottom. So maybe we'll have to do a project making those tassels so that you can add one as well. Thanks for tuning in to Skully Designs, and we hope you come back tomorrow for our next 365-day project. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out our Facebook page while you're at it.